we are located is just due east of the hamlet of Ghent, New York, which lies approximately 35 miles southeast of Albany. It's located in the Hudson River Valley. We're equidistant to the Berkshire Mountains, which are in Massachusetts. So we do have visitors. I mean, the local visitors come from any part of the United States, or even, anywhere in the world, but essentially from, say, Poughkeepsie, New York, Kingston on the other side of the Hudson River, as far north as Saratoga. We have visitors from Massachusetts as well.
Let's talk about the facility. We have a number of things going on, not just sculptures in the field.
Yes, we do have the Visitor Center, the Charles B. Benenson Visitor Center, which is just over a year old. It was completed in June of 2008. It is a 4,800 square foot structure containing a gallery, a large 1,500 square foot gallery. The building is LEED certified, which means it's a leader in energy and environmental design, which is a standard set up by the U.S. Green Council. It is self-sufficient as far as using solar panels to both cool it in the summer and heat it in the winter. Also, it has various aspects to it. It has a planted roof, which reduces heat and also conserves water that would normally drain off of the roof. It's actually absorbed by the sedum plants that are planted up there. As you can see, it's a very airy space. Has a lot of beautiful natural light. Also has behind me, you can see this wood. Virtually everything is recycled except for the window structures, which are new. It is silver certified. There are different degrees of LEED certification: platinum, gold, silver, and bronze. So we don't figure into the very top, but we're up there as far as keeping environmental concerns very much part of the picture, and decreasing the footprint of the building itself. In the fields, it's a low-lying building. It's unobtrusive. Because of its use of stone, glass, and wood, it fits very, very sort of naturally into this this setting of woods and rolling hills. Yeah.
This evidently would be the ideal building of the future for all buildings.
Yeah.
So this is a museum in itself.
Yeah. Well, it is setting a pattern that's obviously more and more in the public consciousness. Actually, the man who designed the roof structure is based out of Boston, so he's doing a lot of work in the city of Boston. So a lot of cities, benefit very, very much from these planted roofs. Yeah.
Now, in the center, in the visitor center itself, and I understand that long ago there was just basically a place to park a car. There was no building here, and so it was actually the field that everybody was coming to look at. Correct?
That's right. It's 140 acres of various sort of either wooded areas or rolling hillside. There's a large pond. Each area contains its own set of sculptures. The sculptures do change over the course of years, so there is a constant sort of shift of new sculptures coming in and older sculptures leaving. Part of the idea is to create a variety of new works, just so that, there's a psychology where people, come here and they're looking for the same thing over and over again and it might not be here anymore, and they're a little disappointed. But at the same time, we do provide them with newer things to look at, with each visit. Hopefully, I think most of our visitors come on an annual basis, maybe a semi-annual basis.
And so these artists that do the work, are they from all over the United States or just New York?
Oh, they're from all over the United States. In fact, since my directorship here, part of my thinking is to internationalize the space or the field. So, of the 5 new works that were just added, 2 are from. One is from a London-based sculptor named Julian Opie. The other is by a husband and wife team from Wales who represented Wales in the 2007 Venice Biennale.
I see. So, in other words, then, this is an ever-changing exhibit.
Not ever changing, but changing over the course of a year. Yeah, we have a summer annual that is usually in the third week of June, and for that we have, depending on our budget, actually my impression is to bring in fewer works, fewer larger scale works that will either remain on permanent loan or, again, in the case of the Julian Opie, we hope to borrow it. We intended to borrow it for a year, but we hope to perhaps extend that because it's become a very popular piece. The piece by the Welsh couple, which is in the gallery, by Heather and Ivan Morrison, the kite sculptures, those will leave actually after the course of 4 months. So the gallery, the interior gallery space will change probably 4 times a year.
Mm-hmm. That is a kite that we're looking at, and I'm showing a picture of it right now. That is a kite.
They're both kites, yeah. The black kite has flown. The mylar kite has never flown because it's fragile. But the black kite, it's made of ripstop and carbon fiber. It was built last year, and it has flown 5 times. We intended to fly it here before it was installed in the gallery, but it requires a 20-mile-per-hour sustained wind. Wow. And unfortunately, during the artist tenure here, installing it, we didn't have that. That's the sort of wind speed that you really only get by the ocean. Yeah.
Now, you mentioned artists' tenure. We should point out that this is more than just a field of sculptures. You do a lot more here.
Well, Art OMI overall, the umbrella organization, has various residencies. They have writers' residencies that occur twice a year. Each residency, one in the spring and one in the fall. They run for 3 months. Writers come from all over the world to stay here. They're given a room and a studio to write in. They don't all stay for the 3-month period. Mostly they stay for about a month. Mm-hmm. But it's a revolving sort of situation with the writers. There's currently, just beginning this week, a dancer's residency. All, again, international. We have, I believe, about 12 or 15 dancers who will come in for 2 weeks. They've never met before. They'll collaborate on a choreographed piece that will be based on any or all of the sculpture. They're given their choice of whatever sculptures they want to work against as far as their choreography. The musician's residency just ended again last week, and that involved, again, about a dozen persons from, again, all over the world who had never met before, and over the course of 2 weeks composed a number of different pieces, improvised, among themselves, and composed a body of new works that were performed here and then also at a venue in New York City. Mm-hmm. There is also an artist residency, which has been going since the beginning. I should say that the Field Sculpture Park was incorporated in 1991, so we've been around for a while as far as the sculpture park itself. The building that we're sitting in now has, I mentioned, it's only just over a year old, so this is really the locus, it's the cynosure of where you come to visit, where you sort of the passage through the information center and then through here out into the fields.
Mm-hmm. Getting out into the field again, do we have all types of structures of art that is done in different mediums, or is it all basically granite? Or
no, absolutely different mediums, different sort of formal aspects. There are very hard edge abstract works. There's a lot of figurative work. My preference is towards work that really does follow very closely with the topography of the land. Rather than sort of taking a piece and just dropping it onto the ground, you have 2 works, especially in this case, one by Orly Ganger, who you'll see later on, is follows very closely, almost like a rug, to the ground behind the visitor center. It's made of mountain climbing rope that she's painted with exterior house paint. So it's quite colorful. In fact, it's probably one of the only, I think it is the only really multicolored, I shouldn't say the only, there are some others, but they're smaller scale, but it is the length of a football field, and it's about 18 feet wide at its widest point. That's a new piece. Again,
Is there aluminum incorporated out there too?
Well, in the Forrest Meyer sculpture is an aluminum piece. Yeah, there's a lot of cast iron. Obviously, you want pieces that aren't going to decompose immediately, even though some will deteriorate over the course of time and need to be constantly maintained. Some of the newer fabric, some of the newer types of work are made out of fiberglass. You'll see the Michael Reese piece or the works by Philip Grousman, the heads. Those are fiberglass.
What do you see as the future of this particular facility yourself?
The future, I would say, is that we continue to expand and grow informatively. We want to increase our visibility on a national and international basis. As far as incorporating new work, we'll be doing that every year. Keeping, again, my intention, expanding the international aspect of the fields, but also keeping a very close watch on what is always coming out in contemporary art itself. So, I mean, sculpture itself is constantly changing. The concept of sculpture is constantly changing. The idea of having these kites, they're literally kites, but they also do fit in every sort of definition of, the definition of sculpture. I mean, they're objects, they have form, they have mass. Everybody has their own taste in what they like or what they don't like, but sculpture itself is something. It's an art form that is three-dimensional, and not always three-dimensional, but
mostly.
For the most part.
For the most part. How can people get more information on this facility?
Well, we have our website, which is artomi.org. That's artomi.org. From there, you can link either to the fields or to the visitor center. I believe we're working very closely on the website now that we're going to actually probably combine the sculpture park with the visitor center, since they are so closely connected physically. But then you can also check out the artist residencies if you're a young artist who's interested to come and live here for 3 months and 3 weeks, and you're provided a studio and a place to stay. You might want to check out the residency program, as well as for writers, dancers, and musicians. We each have our own separate committees that select, each year the new people that are coming in to make new work. you.